Welcome to another video by your friend Matthew. I'm going to read a passage from this fantastic book by Henri Bergson called Creative Evolution. He's one of my favorite philosophers, and he was very popular during his lifetime, but unfortunately he became less and less popular as time went by for the most part. And that makes me sad. I love his ideas. Here's a passage from Creative Evolution. Instinct is sympathy. If this sympathy could extend its object and also reflect upon itself, it would give us the key to vital operations, just as intelligence, developed and disciplined, guides us into matter. For we cannot too often repeat it. Intelligence and instinct are turned in opposite directions, the former towards inert matter, the latter towards life. Intelligence, by means of science, which is its work, will deliver up to us more and more completely the secret of physical operations. Of life it brings us, and moreover only claims to bring us, a translation in terms of inertia. It goes all around life, taking from outside the greatest possible number of views of it, drawing it into itself instead of entering into it. But it is to the very inwardness of life that intuition leads us. By intuition, I mean instinct that has become disinterested, self-conscious, capable of reflecting upon its object and of enlarging it indefinitely. That an effort of this kind is not impossible is proved by the existence in man of an aesthetic faculty along with normal perception. Our eye perceives the features of the living being merely as assembled, not as mutually organized. The intention of life, the simple movement that runs through the lines that binds them together and gives them significance, escapes it. This intention is just what the artist tries to regain in placing himself back within the object by a kind of sympathy, in breaking down by an effort of intuition the barrier that space puts up between him and his model. It is true that this aesthetic intuition, like external perception, only attains the individual. But we can conceive an inquiry turned in the same direction as art, which would take life in general for its object, just as physical science, in following to the end the direction pointed out by external perception, prolongs the individual facts into general laws. No doubt this philosophy will never obtain a knowledge of its object comparable to that which science has of its own. Instinct, even enlarged and purified into intuition, forms only a vague nebulosity. But in default of knowledge, properly so called, reserved to pure intelligence, intuition may enable us to grasp what it is that intelligence fails to give us and indicate the means of supplementing it. On the one hand, it will utilize the mechanism of intelligence itself to show how intellectual molds cease to be strictly applicable. And on the other hand, by its own work, it will suggest to us the vague feeling, if nothing more, of what must take the place of intellectual molds. Thus, intuition may bring the intellect to recognize that life does not quite go into the category of the many, nor yet into that of the one, that neither mechanical causality nor finality can give a sufficient interpretation of the vital process. Then, by the sympathetic communication which it establishes between us, and the rest of the living, by the expansion of our consciousness which it brings about, it introduces us into life's own domain, which is reciprocal and interpenetration, endlessly continued creation. But though it thereby transcends intelligence, it is from intelligence that has come the push that has made it rise to the point it has reached. Without intelligence, it would have remained in the form of instinct, riveted to the special object of its practical interest, and turned outward by it into movements of locomotion.